Well, hey everybody, it is Romania Black, and we are on episode 3 of Bloom Into You. And we already have a kiss, we already have drama, we already have confessions. I just want to. But yeah, basically Nanami and you. You is kind of in this position of I don't really feel the sparks, and so I can't. I really like the juxtaposition between Nanami, who is very much like love at first sight. I like you. Let's do it. And you is kind of like, but I'm not feeling the love at first sight. And so I think it's a really cool combination of you have someone that has to ease like lukewarm into a relationship and dip their toes in and get to know them and all this before they even feel anything. And they don't quite realize that. And then you have Nanami who's like, love you, but obviously is being as kind and considerate as they can be, being like, fine, you know what? Let me still be nice to you and let's still have this relationship, but I know my boundaries and I'm not gonna overturn them. So yeah, sure. And we have, in the same time, Nanami's trying to run for student council president. Yu is helping her. We also have like Sayaka, who is trying to deal with her own feelings towards Nanami and conflicting those alongside realizing that Nanami relies upon you. And there's just a lot going on, and that was only the first 2 episodes. But I really like it. I really, really like it. Like I've said, I believe I said last episode, the pairing of you and Nanami remind me a lot of Heaven Official's Blessing of the main leads in that series, and we can only hope that the end result for you and Nanami will be similar to theirs, just maybe with less trauma. We hope so anyway. This is in a modern setting and not in a fantasy setting, so it's probably going to be a lot more low key than that series, but I am really, really, really excited about the series. I'm really into it so far. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm excited to watch it with you all and continue on into episode 3. So that's really exciting. But before we get started, I want to give a big shout out over to our philanthropy tier over on Patreon to thank you all, because I'm watching this on a different streaming service than I normally do. And so you have to pay for a subscription so that we don't get any of those pesky ads. And so with that being said, I want to give a special shout out over to our philanthropy tier who helped me pay for these subscriptions, especially all of you patrons as well. But special shout out to Alex Cornejo, Anime Annie, Be Happy, Bryant Reed, as well as Dana, Danny Don Mai, Davarin, Destiny Marie, Damage 3245, as well as Danger Zone, Eric Ichu, Ghostly Turnip, Fisho, Ivan, as well as Elfreya, Lyndon, Matthew Palfinier, Murphew, Nicholas, Nameless Monster, No Nickname, Shimoyama, Sunspots, Trails, and Translucent Men. Thank you all so much, as well as Patreon, for your support. I really appreciate it. All of my love. So, I'm not going to forget these this time. Last time I did forget it, and I was like, ooh, but I should. If I'm doing this properly, we should do it this way. And I've had a lot of people say that they actually do sync up at home to better audio than what they get when it's with this one. So, it is what it is. I think the only thing that is a downside is if you, like, watch this on a bus or something where you can't sync it up, or on your phone, and I do apologize for that, but to try and keep this as kosher as we can, we have to do what we must. But anyway, I'm super excited to dive in. I hope you all are as well, but we're not going to waste any more time. We are going to go into Bloom Into You episode 3, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. I was like, it's all the way, so we're good. Well, why would Nanami Senpai like you, girl? Because you're cute and spunky and pretty and intelligent? I don't know. Why do people like people? Ah, nice. So her speech she has to get ready for. Aw. Oh, that's cute. Yeah. Yeah, your friends are saying you'd have fun with it. Ah. Ooh, interesting. Once you start something, you really get into it. She has to warm up for it. Yeah. Oh, girl. You have to warm up into it. Oh, this explains you and your relationships perfectly. Hot and cold. Yeah, girl. Once you get into it, you go all in. Explains everything. That is her to a T. Okay. All right. I love all the flowers, and I'm sure by the time that this gets comments on Patreon, YouTube, you all will have told me what these flowers represent, which is a lot of fun. And I'm sure in later episodes, I will be commenting on that. Aww. Yeah. Ooh, I wonder what's been hidden. I love this OP. It's so pretty. I'm also watching the Apothecary Diaries at the same time, which is very floral as well. So it's just like autumn, flowers, just, nice. I feel like it's very fitting that we have all of this female representation on the channel right now. Someone said I've entered my Yuri era, and I was like, I'll take it. Sure, sure. And then wearing masks and taking off the mask, of course. Love it. Oh, the OP is so good. So good. Ah. Right. Yeah, you're getting down to the wire. Oh. Why are you being stubborn, you? Want an indirect kiss? Yes, please. Uh-huh. Nanami's like, I did it! I gotcha! Uh-huh. And nope, and didn't say anything about it. I love this crossroads. Are you? Is there? Want to come with me to help find a book? Possibly. Please. Let's change the subject. Ah. Okay, so she has an older sister, you does, and her grandmother. Of course. Ah. Make a date out of it. Nice. Oh, it's her family's bookstore. Oh. It's my grandma's. Oh. Oh my gosh. She's like, oh my God, really? Yeah, she's like, it's not like I wasn't all for it. Uh-huh. Well, have you now? Wow, you doesn't look like her mom at all. Uh-huh. Nanami's a charmer. Wow, and the sister. All an act. Oh, Ray. No. No. Oh. Oh, shit. Setting that up. Oh, no. Oh, shit. Well. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, that just instantly became uncomfortable. nice. Hmm. Interesting that you was a softball player and then quit it. Interesting. Hmm. It's too cute, so no. Oh my gosh. How cute. I love it. Man, I miss mall culture. Oh. A romance. I'm like, you're like the one with the boyfriend practically. Or not? I wonder what's up with her with that. I thought she was into the basketball guy. Of course you're reading the book. Mm. Oh, how meta. Oh. Did she actually do that? And he said no. Oh, that sucks. Oh. Oh, that's sad. Oh no. Oh. Are you? Mm. Girl, if it's like Kuroko's basketball, there may be another reason for it, but mm. That's what they all say, girl. And then their best friend playing with them goes to America, and then well, I feel like she's obviously sad. Yeah, she's just putting on a front until she's convinced herself, right? Yeah, Kari. Yeah, he's just making excuses. Oh my god. Oh. Poor Akari. I feel for her. Oh. In your casual clothes. Aw. Well, she obviously came to see you, and give you a present. You! I mean, that is true. I just would have walked here for no reason. Is it an appropriate gift? Or does she not want Sayaka to know that she gave it to her? Aw. I mean, what are you talking about? I just got you a gift to carry on this way. Hmm. And now that you knows that Akari... Oh! Oh, that's what it is from the planetarium. Oh, that's what it is from the OP. I thought it was like a projector, but it kind of is. Okay, now that's really cool. I would like that. I would like that. That's really pretty. Yeah. We'll talk about her and Akari. Oh. Yeah, that's been tying back to like the previous visions and stuff she's had. No, she would not. Girl, I wish you had more self-confidence. Because you're a good person. And they're not going to tell us what she said. Oh, that trope. Oh, that trope. They're going to make you wait for it. The one who likes me. Mm. Oh. Aw. Memorizing is hard. I coach it as a professional event that we compete with, and it's hard to memorize a speech. Especially if it's someone you like and you're nervous. I mean, oh, Sayaka. Both. Damn. Not, I mean, thank you. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, girl has some faith. Hmm. Yeah, I like Sayaka and her relationship. Hmm. Oh, you gonna reach out and touch her hand? Uh huh. Taking the initiative. Taking the initiative. Are we? Is she gonna like give her a hug or hold her hand? Hmm. Are you? Is she gonna grab her hand to like help calm her nerves? Or she's gonna grab her. Oh, the sleeve. I like it. Yeah. Oh. Oh, well, girl. Oh. Ooh. Does she not want Sayaka? She doesn't want them to feel like she's nervous. She doesn't want them to see that side of her. But she's comfortable showing you that side of her, you, because she trusts you and you guys are on a different level. Oh. She have the bob? She had the grade school bob. Oh wow. Is that what those one people were talking about? Like the adults that were talking about her? Hmm. The ideal me. Yeah, that is what it's implying. But she doesn't want to talk about it. Hmm. Ooh, I used to be nothing. Wow, and her I wonder why. Oh. Oh. No, she hasn't. To be honest with you, I love how real you is with her. Oh, she's like, I don't judge you for it. Oh, I love that you's like, I'm not gonna judge you for it. You can be that way around me. Oh, I like that she didn't go in for a kiss. She's like, I just want to rest my head here. Thank you for being that way. Just let me hang out here for a second. Oh, ah. Oh my gosh, I love that. This is normal. Oh. Mmm. Oh. She didn't have to be special in front of me. I mean, I think there's more to it than that, you, but that is definitely a facet of it. You're the only one that gets to see me like this. I'm sure that's part of the reason, but yes. We're gonna get free lunches and then the bitches. Is this like Ganoza back when he was in middle school from Psychopaths? Is this an alternate universe? Oh, girl, I feel you. Nice, girl. Power! 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 There's clearly a reason there, yeah. Oh, this first person point of view is, oh my gosh, girl. It really hits you in this episode. Give him hell, you. You just go up without a script. That's so intimidating. Ooh. I love this, like, her inner monologue with what she's saying. Damn, I love this. Yeah. Girl, don't mess this up. Don't mix it up. Don't say the wrong thing. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh. Nice. I love that Maki's there watching. Oh, I love it. That's all. That's it. Just making my declaration of love up here on this stage in front of y'all. It gave you character. But it shows that she's motivated you and she's influenced you. It's just normal. Oh, I love it. Girl, yes, please. Oh, yay! Oh. Good. I'm glad we didn't have to wait an episode to find that out. Oh. Oh. Got it. Give the girl some space! Maki's like, what? Did I miss something? Have I been in the dark? I love Maki's like, it's too many ladies in the room. Ooh. Ooh, mystery. Something she'd have to give up. Is that her? Ah. Hmm. Hmm. Oh. Big sister vibes. Hmm. Uh-huh. Hmm. Oh, love it. Love, 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 love it. Yes, please. Okay. Oh. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, this is getting good. Yeah. Oh, man. They say the third episode is the one that's usually the make or break. You're either going to be into a show or you're going to go, oh, okay, it's fine. No, this was the one. I was like, all right, yeah. So gosh, I really am digging where this is going. We're setting up that Nanami has some insecurities from her past, which is good. I like whenever they start out with a character that seems very flawless, very above it, very much like, oh, I've got everything together. And then as the series goes on, usually if it's has any type of romantic subtext, it's because of the person that they're romantically involved with that gets them this point. But they start to like peel back the layers and be like, oh, well, actually, I'm not that perfect. And actually, there's a lot going on under here. And I'm just trying to put on an act to convince you that everything's fine when it's really not. And what's funny is the one, it's not even a romance series. Well, you can argue that it's not, but I think it is. But I would say like in Skate the Infinity, Skate the Infinity is one of my favorite shows. I love it. It's so great. So much fun. It's like a comfort anime in a little 12 episode series, but kind of like this one is turning out to be. But there's a main character who is kind of on the polar opposite spectrum. Like Nanami is like the good side of the spectrum, and Adam from Skate the Infinity is on the other side of the spectrum. But both of those characters at the very start of the series, the first couple episodes, they appear very much like, oh, I've got everything under control. I'm perfectly fine. Everything's great. I'm special. And then as the series goes on, I'm not going to spoil Skate the Infinity, but there is a character specifically that kind of causes that character to reveal, no, they're really not perfect and super special. There's a lot of baggage and a lot of stuff under the surface that makes him a more complex and interesting character. And I love characters that do that. And Nanami is really, really fascinating to me right now because she appears to be super put together. And I think that oftentimes we meet people in real life that seem like Nanami. I'm sure we've all met a Nanami before that seem like they have everything put together and they're on top of their game and nothing's wrong. And then if you get to know that person and they open up to you, you more than likely will find out, no, they've got a lot going on under the surface. And the face that you see doesn't represent the whole of themselves. And I really like that Nanami, she loves you for reasons we'll talk about in this episode, but she's comfortable with you kind of peeling that mask off and saying, here's how I really am. I'm actually terrified. I'm actually putting on a show. I'm trying to compensate for something that's happened in my past. I don't want to go back to that state again. We'll talk about when we get to it, but I think that it's really fascinating. It makes Nanami a much more interesting character. And again, going back to Heaven Official's Blessing, the character that Nanami reminds me of, whose initials are HC, I'm like, yeah, you think that they're this perfect enigmatic being that's like amazing and flawless. And then as the story goes on, you're like, oh no, there's lots of flaws there. You just got to peel back the surface and find it. So I'm like, yes, please. Love it. Love it. And then you, on her side of things, she's like, well, why would Nanami Senpai like me? And I'm like, oh, tale as old as time. Tale as old as time. Where we have the other side of the equation where this character's like, well, I just don't know why they would like me. I'm like, well, they do. There's a reason. And we kind of find out part of that reason in this episode. Now, do I think that is the only reason that Nanami likes you? No, I think there's more to it than that. But I think that's a big part of it, is that she feels like you was like the first person who didn't just view her as this like perfect being and saw her as an actual person. And that had a big impact on her. Again, I'm watching another series right now called The Apothecary Diaries. And in that series, we have two main characters that kind of have the same thing going on, where one seems like this flawless being and the other one kind of sees past it and is like, no, you're just kind of like a weirdo. And it's great. So I really like that. But yeah, I wish you had a little bit more self-confidence, but I get where you was coming from because I've been there. It's like, I feel like all of us at some point, we kind of self-doubt and we're like, but why would anybody want to be in a relationship with us? Or would they like us? Because I feel like sometimes we think a lot less of ourselves than others around us do. And we may have some self-doubt that others don't necessarily get. So I get where you's coming from, and I want to encourage her to like move past it. I'm like, you got this, girl. You can do this. But so she's memorizing this speech, which I coach a speech team, and it is a competitive speech team, and in that team you have to deliver speeches that are fully memorized. And memorization's hard. I could do it really good when I was younger, like in high school, college age, but now I think it'd be very, very difficult because, you know, when you get older, your mind works in different ways. So, but I get it. And she's there trying to get her speech memorized. So the friends point out a couple things. One, they expect her to be part of student council when she's done with helping out with this election, because they're like, well, you're really good at it and you seem to enjoy it, so why wouldn't you? And they bring up that they all went to middle school together, and back in middle school, she's like, Akari says, you know, after you joined the softball club, you were a regular, you were really good at it. And you just kind of like throws that away. She's like, I don't want to talk about it. And they're like, you're the type that once you start something, you get really into it. And I'm like, ah. So in that moment, I was like, oh, okay. So she's kind of like, she's a slow burner. Like once you turn that heat on, let it simmer for a bit. And once that heat gets going, then it gets hot. So I'm like, yes. So that seems indicative to me of not only her as a person, that once she gets into something, she really gets involved in it, but also as a lover that, again, she's like, oh, I didn't feel that spark of first love. I don't know. It's like, but she's starting, you even see it at the end of this episode, starting to warm up to the idea that she might actually like Nanami as more than a friend. We're going to talk about that, but yeah. So I like that. I like that little character development moment where the friends are like, this is how you've been growing up. And I'm like, ah, that makes sense. But I also like that Akari and the other girl, whose name kind of escapes me right now, the girl that's read the book before she watched the movie. I'm like, girl, what shade to throw? She's like, well, actually, I'm reading the book, but the movie was all right. I was like, girl, savage. She's great. I like her. The girl that doesn't like cute things. But they're like, well, we'll help you out all the way. And Yu's like, I'm not joining up. Blah, 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 blah. I love this OP. It's great. It's a great time. But yeah, I like that the friends are being super supportive. Now, the question is, are they still going to be supportive if they find out that she has a relationship with Nanami? We have many episodes left to go to find that out, right? But it looks like what Nanami gets is apple juice. I didn't know if it was like dragon fruit or something else, but it looks like apple juice. I honestly love the idea in the vending machines that you can just get coffee and everything in them. I would be all about that. So they're talking about getting ready for the election. And you let slip that she doesn't know if she's going to be joining or not. And that was a really cool bookend for this episode, that it started out with her telling Nanami, like, I'm not going to join the student council. I don't really want to do this. We're not together. And then by the time we finished the episode, she's like, I'm going to join the student council because I've been inspired by Nanami and I want to keep doing it. It's a great bookend for the episode. It was the structure of this episode was so good. And the pacing of this episode was so good. It was just like boom, 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 things happening. So we get an indirect kiss from them. I like that neither of them, there's no like blushing or giddiness. They just do the indirect kiss, but there's an air in the scene, like they both know what they just did, and they're both kind of like glancing at each other, like they know what they did, but they're not calling it out. And it's like, it's like, well, you know what's going on. And I like that when they get to the fork in the road, Nanami's like, well, I just want to kind of walk to this bookstore up ahead that I've scouted out in your neighborhood so that I can walk with you and get a book for the road trip, you know. And Yu is very clever about this because she doesn't automatically say, oh, it's my family's bookstore. My family runs it. She's just like, okay, sure. And so we find out a little bit about their family. We find out that Nanami is an only child. We find out it's just her and her parents. And then with Yu, we find out that she has the older sister, her parents, and her grandmother. And she's like, well, it's got good points and bad points. And yeah, that line hit me hard because it's like, yeah, big families are fun in ways, but then there can be drama. So it's like a give and take scenario, right? But I do think their bookstore is super cute. I love it. The Fujishiro bookstore. So it's not her family name, so it must be like her grandmother on her mom's side, right? So then they come in and she's like, oh, this is my family store. Nanami's like, shit. I like that Nanami, like the mask drops and she's like, oh crap, I'm in your family's bookstore. This seems a little bit early for you to have like a meet the parents moment, which is just the grandma and the mom. It's not all of it. And so then we have all of these different books there. I like this one called Hierarchy that has like, it looks like Hanako-kun with a gun. I was like, what is this? I want to read that, actually. And she says, but this is the Fujishiro bookstore. And she's like, well, that's because it's my grandma's. So it's her mom. Well, the thing about Japan that's interesting to me that I kind of love is that you don't necessarily like in the US, it is primarily that the woman takes on the man's name. That's like very commonplace. Now, it's gotten a little bit more progressive in the last 10, 20 years where I know people that have kept their name and chose not to take the other person's name. But usually, very rarely does the man in relationships here in the US take the woman's last name. Usually it's either the woman takes the man's surname or they keep their own name and they don't take it at all. And there's not an exchange. But what I like about Japan is that it's kind of, sometimes the dad's family is like, no, we're going to take your name because it's more prestigious or more tied to whatever. And I think that's cool. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. So we don't know if the grandma is the mom's mom or the dad's mom, but I'm assuming it's the mom's mom because the mom is working there as well. Maybe. But I don't know. The dad may have a job and the mom, you know, this daughter-in-law just came to work there, whatever. And she's like, oh, somebody knows me. She's like, well, I don't want them to know I'm taking advantage of the daughter. And she's like, you kissed me once at a train track. She's like, it's okay. We're going to be fine. I'm not being taken advantage of. And that's when we get the mom coming in. But yeah, everybody's all heard about Nanami. And Nanami puts on this air of just, she lights the switch and puts on the special face and like gets their attention and woos them over. And I like that Yu's watching her the whole time and kind of going, that's like, Yu notices that she turns on the switch. Yu notices that it happens. And I think that's really, really interesting. I'm like, So, and then they all meet up for dinner, and they're like, she was so well mannered. And then we have this very wonderfully awkward scene with the dad. So there is the two sisters. Ray looks a lot like you. I like they all did the orange and pinkish hair. Must be a recessive trait. And you says it's all an act if you ask me. And you got, for you to come out to her parents and say that she believes that Nanami's like her mask that she puts up as an act, I think is really important that you's sharing what her thoughts are about Nanami to try to like, it's like she's reasoning with her family so she can reason with herself and then talk to Nanami about it later. Again, the things in this episode that come up, they all kind of lead from one point to the next. And it's really, really nice. And they're like, well, that's a rude thing to say about your senpai. And so then, of course, like the friends, the sister thinks that it's a boyfriend. And she's like, come on, tell your big sister. And they're like, oh, we're talking about her senpai and she's a girl, the mom says. Now, the mom is like, oh, it's a girl. It's just her senpai. They're just friends. The sister is like, oh, so it's your girlfriend. And I instantly, when the dad says, oh, and you, because you doesn't want to answer, she's like, of course not, sister, don't make this awkward. And when the dad says, oh, well, your old man wouldn't be able to take a shock like that, instantly creates that divide. And I feel like it's such a, and I know some people would maybe think it's stereotypical, but it is such a generational thing where you see the parents that are like, our daughter being in a not heterosexual relationship, don't scare us like that, whereas the sister is instantly like, oh, so it's your girlfriend. Cool. Like the sister is instantly like, she's accepting of it. She's teasing her, obviously, but she is accepting of it overall. Or so we think. She may be, maybe not when she finds out it's real, but for now she seems accepting and open about it. But the dad is like, oh, well, I don't want to think of my daughter as a lesbian or anything. And I'm like, so instantly we are setting up that if you tells her parents that she's dating Nanami, it's gonna create some strife, at least with the father. And I'm like, cool, we're setting that up. So, okay. And it's really sad because it's so sad to me, like in this day and age, like, who cares if your daughter likes another girl? It's fine. Why is this a big deal? But it's like, and you instantly is like, well, that's another point of this is going to be awkward later. So we have Natsuki and Kiyomi. Her friends are going to hang out and they go to the mall during vacation. This is so reminiscent of high school and early college. I absolutely love this. The idea of like meeting up with your friends, going to the mall, walking around, getting a coffee, and then going to a movie. Like it feels so nostalgic, right? And there are some malls around where I live, but they're like an hour away. Locally, there are no malls anymore where I'm from. And it's so sad because mall culture is such a thing. So this whole part about the friend getting onto Akari for chasing the basketball senpai, now it makes more sense why Akari is a little bit more coy about it. So they do all the mall fun stuff, play with the drums, and then they're going to see this movie, Take Them Back, all the things that you love. I was like, it looks like Celine Dion music would be accompanying by it. I like the Magical Girl movie that's playing right next to it. And something about a star. But yeah. And like it's a romance. Oh, what is it? It's like something interesting. Regain star. And it's like the Regain star is interesting because it's like got a American flag behind it. So I don't know. It also, that poster had English on it. I want to go back to that poster real quick because I was like, what does that say? It looked like it had English. And it says, yeah, Rina Di Costanzo. Interesting. I'm curious about that movie that has like the US flag behind it. But yeah, it looks like there's scary movies and a movie about a boy and a dog, and then there's the romance. And I feel sad for Akari because she's like, she was just turned down. The last thing she probably wants to watch is a romance. In one of my classes I taught, we had a unit that we didn't have a lot of time on, and so I wanted to show Moulin Rouge as an example movie for reasons, but there was a basketball player, a basketball player, ironically, in my class, and he was like, oh no, he's like, we can't watch that movie. And I was like, why? He's like, oh, my girlfriend broke up with me after watching it. And I was like, ah. So everybody was like, oh, don't watch it. Oh, don't want to feel bad. And I was like, fine, we watch something else. But I instantly flashed back to that with Akari, but she's a good sport. She goes along with it. They end up going and watching the movie. And then afterwards, I love the savage friend that's like, I'm reading the book, but the movie's all right. I'm like, girl, you're reading the book, but you got spoiled with the movie? Damn. And she just was like, eh. But then when they talk about when the one girl's like, I wish they'd just say it already. It felt very meta, this conversation. It's like, they both like each other, so just say it already and get it over with. And you was like, well, if they did that, there'd be no movie. And looks directly at the camera. To be like, yeah, well, this is a 13-episode series. We can't just come out and have both the characters say they love each other right off the bat, right? But I definitely felt for Akari when she said that she got turned down. And everybody was just like, oh, no. And she's like, he didn't, she's like, oh, he's like, I like that Akari says, I'm not bothered by it because it wasn't like there was another girl. She's like, I'm not going to get jealous. He just wants to focus on basketball and doesn't want to date me, which I don't know, it still sucks a lot because he's basically like, I don't want to date right now and get unfocused with the game. It seems like a bad excuse. Also, girl, I've watched Kuroko's basketball. You might watch out because he may not come back for you once that basketball career is over. But I like the idea of the blue ice cream and the pink ice cream overlapping each other. And she's like, well, it's not the end. He just told me to wait until he's done playing on the team. And Yu's like, the way that she says it seems like she's convinced herself by practicing over and over again this excuse. Like it's a mantra, And I feel for Akari. It's sad because you saw her with that guy a few episodes ago and it seemed like everything was going well. And the friends are all like, oh, well, don't give up on him. Everything will turn out right in the end. And then Yu's like, well, maybe not. And they're like, no, don't tell her that. But I like that Akari smiles because I think she realizes she not only has like the two friends that are like rooting for her, being like, oh, come on, he doesn't know what he's missing. You just keep on working at it and he'll change his mind. And then you have Yu, who's the friend that's kind of more realistic, being like, well, that might not happen. So you might not want to wait around for him. So, I think that Akari smiling at the end shows that she's really happy. She has this friend circle where she feels like she can come out to them, be herself, and they're going to support her. So Nanami waiting for you to give her the gift. I love it. I love Nanami's outfit. Her fashion is really cute with the little striped pants and the blouse. And she gives the souvenir to Yu. That's a little planetarium projector, which is super cute. I want one of those, actually. It's so cute. But I like that Yu's like, you could have gave this to me at school, but a gift like that, one, it could have been broken at school because high school students bumping into you, knocking stuff over, it could have easily gotten broken at school. So I get why she wouldn't want to give it to you there. But also, a gift like this is kind of more personal. It's not just like a manga or a book or a bookmark or a magnet. I mean, that gift probably cost a little bit of money. So obviously, she wanted to give it to her in person. And plus, going to her place of work to give it to her by her house all by themselves is a little bit more sentimental than just giving it to her at school. Because then everybody's going to be like, well, why did you give her a gift? Why didn't you get us a gift? And, it would cause more questions. And she's like, yeah, I just wanted to give you this gift. And I like that Nanami, again, Yu comments and points out that when Nanami is around you, she puts the wall down, she takes the mask off, and she's nervous, she's giddy, she's, shaking, she expresses her emotions on a much more real platform around you than she does with Sayaka or anybody else. And Yu's like, how much do you like me, girl? And Nanami's like, a lot. A lot. She's like, I love you. What are you talking about? So yeah, the planetarium projector is super cute. It goes along with the whole theme of you trying to reach the stars, wondering if she's going to ever get to that place. And I'm like, well, Nanami's trying to help you. She's trying to get you up there, girl. Just what can we do? So then we have the three candidates all with their juniors. I didn't realize that the representatives got up to speak and then the candidates spoke. I thought that you would be speaking on Nanami's behalf and everything would kind of ride on that speech, and then that's what they would base the votes on. But there's more to it than that, so good for them. I'm glad that Nanami gets to speak about it, right? But I really like this scene where they're getting ready, and then Sayaka shows up, and Nanami's like, are you trying to do scare tactics, or are you genuinely concerned? And Sayaka says, well, in your case, scare tactics. In Koito's case, genuine concern, because she needs to do this well. I like Sayaka. I think what I like about her character also at this point is that she clearly likes Nanami. And I think she understands that Nanami does not like her in the same capacity she likes you. But rather than be a jealous wench about it, which she very much could still do, or could be at this point, she's very supportive. And she's just kind of like, look, I know what's going on. There's not much I can do. I want to support Nanami. I believe in Nanami, so this is all I can do right now. And go from there. So I like how Sayaka is portrayed. Now that may change over the course of this, but... And Yu's like, do you believe in Nanami? And she's like, yep, I've seen it for myself. I've never seen her drop the ball when it counts. And she's like, I keep forgetting she keeps putting me in these crazy situations, but she really is amazing. But then she sees her hand be nervous. And that's when she asks to go outside. I love this whole outdoor scene. The outdoor scene with Yu is probably my favorite in the whole episode. I love it. And I like, Nanami's like, why did you bring me out here? And she's like, well, she's like, should we go back in? And then Nanami's like, no, I need this moment out here to kind of settle my nerves. And the face that she makes when she's like, I tried my best to hide it, the face she makes, it's like a cat-like expression with her bangs all down in her face and her eyes are all kind of like glistening and everything. It looks very Hua Chong. From Evan Official's Blessing, I was just like, It looks very much that. It really does. And it's just, I love that she has this vulnerable side to her that she reveals to you in these moments when they're alone. It's so good. And she's like, I'm trying to put on this face. And that's when and Yu's like, why don't you talk to Sayaka? And she's like, no. She's like, the others, they all believe in me. She's like, I don't want them to lose that faith. I like that the symbolism, we kind of back up and we start to go back into the forest, into the trees. Like everything's getting all like lost and woodsy. But yeah, Sayaka and the others, they all see her as this special individual. And she, promotes that version of herself. And so then we get the flashback. She's like, I didn't think anyone even remembers me back when I was young. She's like, my grades were average and I didn't have many friends. My thing is, I think she was bullied. I think she had an incident where she was bullied. And so she's like, I either become the popular girl that meets all the standards for the society that I'm stuck in, or I continue to get harassed. And she chose the former. I think it might be more complicated than that, but that's what we got. She's like, I was shy, hiding in somebody else's shadow. So we see this one woman. I don't know if that's her mom or if it's her, but we see her hiding like she's shy. And then she says, but one day I couldn't do that anymore. Now, she said it was just her and her parents. So I don't know if that is her mom or if something happened, or if she had a friend and something happened to the friend and she had to make up for it. I feel like there's definitely some part there that we don't know about yet that hasn't been revealed to us. She's like, I studied as hard as I could and thought about how I could get other people to like me. And slowly, day by day, I became the ideal me. Something happened. Something went on. And ever since then, she's been cultivating this image of her and got to this point where she is this persona. And I'm thinking at some point we'll find out what that incident was, because Yu asks about it and she doesn't quite answer the question. She doesn't want to answer the question. She just grabs onto her sleeve and holds it. And I like that Yu doesn't press her. She just sort of accepts it in that moment. Like, okay, well, whenever you're ready to talk, that's fine. You can talk then. And she's like, I used to be nothing, and I can't go back to that. I need to stay who I am, someone special. I'm so fascinated by that. I want to know about that nothing and what that means. And I'm assuming we'll find out in this series, but she's like, bearing myself to you like this, it's hard to call myself special, huh? And I love that she's like, how can you even say that? I love that she like calls Nanami out. She's like, I'm not like the others. I never thought you were perfect or anything like that. You made a point. And Yu's like, you put me in charge because I was an honest person. You wanted my honest opinion, and you knew I wasn't going to suck up to you like everybody else. So I'm giving you my honest opinion. I don't think you're special. You end up feeling nervous, and it shows on your face. Showing me when you feel weak doesn't change a thing. I love it. And I love that Nanami in that moment. I also like, because at first I thought on a couple occasions this episode, I thought Nanami was going to try to kiss her. And the good thing is Nanami respects Yu's boundaries. She respects that that's not what she wants right now. And so instead she's like, can I just lay my head here? Is that okay? Are we good? Just let me have this one moment. I promise I'm going to keep my hands away. My hands are behind my back. She's like, I got my hands behind my back. I'm not going to bother you. I just want to have this moment to thank you for supporting me in this and for being that way. And I think that's really, really important. I like that she respects those boundaries, and it's very consensual, right? Because you brought her out there, right? She could have used that as an excuse, being like, well, you brought me out here. But no, Nanami's better than that. And I love that moment between them. It's so sweet. And my thing is, the moment that Yu gives her the head pat and like, you know, she's like, who wouldn't be seeing someone as vulnerable as this? And the moment that she puts her head close to her ear and says, remember, this is normal. That scene, I'm going to take a picture of that because that's probably going to be the screenshot. That whole moment where she's like, this is normal. You don't have to have the walls up 24/7. I'm like, oh. I love that. I love that she's like, you can be yourself around me and it's okay. And then she like runs her hand down her hair and like runs it through it. I'm like, that's a pretty sensual gesture in itself. So I'm like, Yu is slowly like getting to where what she wants to do is acceptable. And that's when she's like, and that's why she fell for me. Because she heard what I said and realized she didn't have to be special in front of me. Only you're the one who gets to see this. And that's why I'm special to her. And I'm sure that was the basis of it. I'm sure that's the spark of it. That's why she likes her so much. I think that there's more to it than that. But I think that Yu, on a pragmatic level, that's what she's understanding about it so far. And then we come back to this poor bespectacled man who is going to be student council president. He looked really glum back when he didn't get it at the end of the election. I like some of the people in the audience are kind of like, their animated faces are like that. So then what I really love is that Yu like takes a breath. She goes up, gives her speech. And I love that the whole moment where she was going and talking about how amazing Nanami is and why you should vote for her, I loved the back and forth in her brain versus what she's saying. I love that because she starts talking about her and saying all these great things about her. She says, you try to put a brave face all on your own. And then what'd she say there? She says, but, you know, despite being, she basically in her head knows that Nanami is not this perfect person. She's like, you're stubborn. How stupid could you be? But if I really am the only person she can rely on. I love that Yu kind of is mad at her a little bit, where she's saying in her head, she's like, you are not the person that everybody thinks you are. And you should be okay showing that side of yourself to the world. But fine, if that's how you're going to be and I'm the only one that gets to see it, then I'll stick up for you. And I love that she adds on that she wants to join student council. And she's like, why did I do that? Why did I talk about myself? But honestly, I think that's what convinced everybody to vote for Nanami, because it wasn't just, oh, hey, I'm giving this speech for my senpai because they asked me to, but you actually shows that Nanami's inspired her to be active in her own community within the school. She's inspired her to participate. She's inspired her to go above and beyond. And that kind of influence, I think, is what sells everyone on voting for her in the end. So it all worked out. And damn, Nanami's face, whenever she added that extra line, like her eyes were glittering. They were sparkling. Again, I feel like I want to put, like, Nanami is basically if Homura from Magi Madoka and Hua Chong came together, like, as a character, that is her. And I love it. And then everybody's really moved. I like seeing Maki in the audience being like, yeah. Like, he's just smiling like, go girl. All right. At the end, he looked so confused when there was all the girls around. He was like, what do I do? Can I join in? I feel like Maki is like Ross from Friends, where he does like the little leap in the air. Like, he's so giddy. And that's why I want to help her. So I hope you all cast your vote. And then when she walks by and Nanami's like, well, was that maybe a little too kind? And she's like, it's just normal. The idea of just normal, describing them, I love it. I love it because you have both of their relationships, they're dynamic together, but it's also suggesting that their relationship is just normal. There's nothing special about these two women loving each other. It's just a romance. Yes, please. Yes, please. And so, yeah, she ends up winning. I like the response. I like the one girl's like, okay, she like bows out gracefully, and the other guy is like, he's being mourned. And then, yeah, her telling you in her ear, being like, I love you. I love Maki's just standing there like, did I hear that correctly? Did I hear right? Oh, I love it. I made up my mind I was going to stay close to her, but I hadn't realized in order to do so, there was something I'd have to give up. I don't know. I don't think that she's going to have to give up her friendship with her friends, because I think they're going to support her no matter what. I don't know how it's going to affect her home life because her dad doesn't seem supportive of it. So there's going to be that. I'm curious what she's going to have to give up necessarily in order to be in this relationship and be near her. I'm curious. I don't know if it's going to be her family bonds or what it's going to end up being, but I'm very, very curious to see what we get. So, Anyway, this was an amazing episode. I loved it a lot. And I like the sister going at her at the end, like jumping up and hitting the sky. The sister, what I like about that scene is the sister makes it look easy. She's like, oh, I touched the sky. I touched the stars in the sky. Haha. And then you is like, am I going to be able to get to that point? And it's like, girl, you're in the same room with the same stars. But I think that also could be a metaphor for if the sister is upholding like the conventions of societal romance, and then you have two people in the same room with the same distance between them and the ceiling, but for you it feels more farther away. Maybe it's a symbol of that. We'll see. But I'm really curious to hear your thoughts down below about this episode, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm liking this series a lot now, and I can't wait to watch episode 4. So, in any case, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back real soon with more Bloom into you. Bye!